For those of us we don't see you, I don't see you on a night-to-night basis. What is your description of kind of the physical battle that Caitlin particularly faces, maybe within tonight's game or just in general as you've gotten used to coaching, or just what you see she's enduring physically?
Are you trying to get me fined again?
I am not.
The Wall Street Journal in this article is calling maybe Caitlin Clark's civil rights are actually being violated.
Is Caitlin Clark's civil rights being broken?
To really understand what's been going on, let's walk through just one example. In the game against the Connecticut Sun, Caitlin Clark gets called for a foul. She immediately runs over, protesting, "I didn't touch her, I didn't touch her!" The officials respond, we'll look at it. And she's right. There's no contact at all, but the foul still stands. No contact, still a whistle. But that was just the beginning. On the very next possession, things escalate. Caitlin has the ball at the top of the key, fighting through contact with JC Sheldon. They're bumping and jostling, and suddenly, Caitlin takes a finger to the eye, right across the bridge of her nose. JC walks up, leans in slightly, straightens up, and throws her body, belly first, into Caitlin. And if that wasn't enough, number 3 Marina Mabrey comes in and finishes it off by sending Caitlin crashing to the floor. There it is, in plain sight. No disguise, no subtlety, just force. This wasn't basketball. This was sanctioned brutality. And the referees, they reviewed the footage. They saw every second, every shove, every lean, every cheap shot. And yet, even with replay, even with the whole arena watching, the league protected everything but Caitlin. This is just one of many examples, and WNBA is still sleeping. Even Stephanie White had to say this after the match.
Wasn't an explanation for the tech that she got. I think it was pretty obvious that stuff was brewing, right? When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game. It's been happening all season long. I've seen quite a few dust-ups in the league so far, so I think it's a league-wide issue. Bad officiating is bad officiating.
If the league can allow this to happen over and over again and call it fair play, then we're no longer talking about sport. We're talking about survival. The ref's turning a blind eye? No problem. Caitlin Clark's a badass. Next play, she gets the ball with JC Sheldon draped all over her. Hand up, pressure on, right in her face. But Caitlin finds her opening, pulls up from deep, and bang, buries the 3. Then she lets him know, celebrating like only she can. But no celebration can erase what just happened. This wasn't a one-off. This wasn't a bad night. This was evidence. And now, the world is paying attention.
Is Caitlin Clark's civil rights being broken?
The Wall Street Journal in this article is calling maybe Caitlin Clark's civil rights are actually being violated.
This is no longer about basketball. This is about what happens when the league you carried on your back turns around and lets you get shoved to the ground for everyone to see and calls it nothing. They called it physical. They called it competitive. But what we saw was targeted. They called it a game. But when your eyes are scratched, your ribs are bruised, and your name becomes a target instead of a headline, what are we really watching? Really?
Caitlin Clark has done for the Women's National Basketball Association what Michael Jordan once did for the NBA. That is a fact. Made it more valuable, watchable, and marketable. Instead of protecting its transformative star, the league's leadership ignores the relentless targeting of Miss Clark, treating its greatest asset as if she were a PR headache.
Those are not words tossed around lightly. That's not hyperbole. That's a mirror being held up to a league that's pretending not to see its own reflection. Because the numbers don't lie. They scream.
Since she joined the league last year, Ms. Clark's impact has been seismic. Merchandise sales soared 601%. God! 601%. Indiana Fever viewership jumped 170%. The team's value tripled. League Pass subscriptions climbed 366% and engagement rose 613%.
But for every jersey sold, every new subscriber gained. A new bruise followed. No protection, no suspension for those who go after her, just silence and resentment. What happens when the one player bringing in millions is treated like a threat instead of an asset? You get the league we have right now, fractured, bitter, and cracking under the pressure.
We got people taking shots at her fans, calling all of her fans racist. The whole state of Indiana is all of a sudden racist now.
The problem isn't just the targeting on the court, it's the whisper campaign off of it. The passive-aggressive shade, the coded language, the accusations. This is what happens when jealousy becomes policy.
We had everybody coming at the one person who has brought all this attention, all of this media, all of this, everything they claim they wanted. The one person who was responsible for bringing it in, they hate her. They hate her. They take shots at her. They come at her nonstop.
The most damning accusations didn't come from a player. They came from one of the most respected publications in the country. The Wall Street Journal didn't pull punches. They didn't dance around it. They called it what it is.
If the league won't act to protect its superstar from a hostile environment, the government should do so.
Those 12 words could change everything, because this is no longer a sports debate, it's a legal one. And the case is stacking itself. Every game, every shove, every silence from the top.
At some point, there has to be hate crime. There has to be something. This ain't a physical contact sport. Basketball is just a little contact here and there, but nothing to garner what Caitlin Clark has been facing now.
They call it rookie hazing. They call it physical play. But when that physical play is happening to one player more than anyone else, by far, it becomes something else. 17% of all flagrant fouls. Double her peers. And still, the whistle barely blows.
The league has fostered a hostile workplace for Caitlin Clark through excessive fouling, targeting, and hostile comments from other players and owners. These aren't isolated. They're documented, continuing, and ignored by officials. The disparity in treatment invites real scrutiny. Not a single player has been suspended for flagrantly fouling Miss Clark.
They said it right there. Not one suspension, not one, and yet the bruises keep piling up. And so does the evidence, because under civil rights law, you don't need someone to say the quiet part out loud. Patterns speak louder than intent.
Race-motivated patterns trigger scrutiny even without explicit discriminatory intent. Systematic missed calls include viral replays of Clark being fouled multiple times in a single possession. Quote, every single one of them is a foul, analyst Rebecca Lobo said.
The game isn't just rigged, it's rotten. And the rot starts at the top. When coaches can't speak, when players are punished for asking questions, and when referees become enforcers instead of protectors, you don't have a sport. You have a cover-up. When Stephanie White was asked about fouls on Caitlin Clark in a recent interview, this is what she said.
For those of us I don't see you on a night-to-night basis. What is your description of kind of the physical battle that Caitlin particularly faces, maybe within tonight's game or just in general as you've gotten used to coaching, or just what you see she's enduring physically?
Are you trying to get me fined again?
I am not.
That wasn't sarcasm. That was a warning, a quiet scream from a coach who knows exactly how thin the ice is beneath her. Because in the WNBA right now, speaking up gets you punished faster than flagrant contact. And that line, "Are you trying to get me fined again?" What does that even mean? Is Stephanie White hinting there's some unspoken policy about not talking about fouls on Caitlin Clark? Because if that's the case, it raises a bigger question. Why is holding referees accountable suddenly off limits? If you're a referee wearing that whistle, you can miss everything. You can shrug off the most obvious hits, because accountability doesn't live here anymore.
We have referees who are a clown show. A clown show. Refs that couldn't get a job at Target, Kmart, Toys R Us, nothing. We got people refereeing games that clearly have never ref before.
That's not a joke. That's a crisis. These aren't just bad officials. These are unqualified gatekeepers deciding who gets hurt, who gets helped, and who gets ignored. Because while the refs miss everything that matters, the players see everything. This year's been a circus, a disaster, a hostile workplace dressed up in marketing slogans and hashtags.
We got players quitting. We got players bombing on fans, the very consumers that they need in order to continue to try to get more money. We got players calling entire fan bases racist.
This league wants more money, more exposure, more credibility. But you can't have any of that if your own players are attacking the foundation you're trying to build. You can't demand more pay while disrespecting the fans. You can't ask for more sponsors while treating your biggest star like a punching bag. You can't ask for trust when the officiating is this corrupt. It's not just the fans who are done with it. The players know it too. The silence from the top is turning into resentment on the floor.